Vienna, 1884. A young doctor slides a vial of white powder across a mahogany desk. He calls it a miracle. He calls it dry courage. To the rest of the world, it's cocaine. Sigmund Freud didn't just study addiction, he fueled it. He pumped his patients full of the drug. He sent it to his fiancée. He even used it to treat a friend's morphine habit, only to watch the man's mind disintegrate into a waking nightmare of crawling skin and paranoia. Then came the surgery. Freud and his colleague butchered a woman's nasal cavity in a botched experiment, leaving half a meter of gauze rotting inside her face. Blood. Pus. Total medical malpractice. He didn't apologize. He blamed her hysteria. History remembers a sage, a man who unlocked the human soul. But look closer at the blood on his white coat. How did a reckless drug pusher, a man who ignored reality to protect his own ego, become the architect of your mind? You think you know your own thoughts. You don't. You're just living in the maze this addict built for you. Let's burn down the myth. The 19th century treated the human mind like a broken clock. If you malfunctioned, they reached for the hammer. Doctors prowled asylum wards, convinced every madness hid in a physical lesion. They sliced brains. They burned skin. They chained hysterics to stone walls and drowned them in ice baths to shock the nerves back to life. To the medical elite, you were just a meat machine with a loose screw. Then Freud walked in. He didn't bring a scalpel. He brought a chair. He told the establishment they were looking at the wrong map. He ignored the flesh and hunted the ghost. He mapped a psychic war zone inside your skull. A three-way knife fight for control. First, the ID. The beast. A screaming infant demanding sex, blood, and survival. Next, the superego. The shadow of the father. The crushing weight of law, shame, and no. Then, trapped in the middle, the ego. That's you. A fragile negotiator trying to stop the beast from eating the judge. The medical world recoiled. They called him a pornographer, a charlatan. They spat on his theories of infant desire. They saw a man obsessed with the groin, dragging science into the gutter. But Freud didn't blink. He knew the truth was filthy. He stopped listening to what his patients said and started listening to what they hid. He didn't just find a new disease. He invented a new version of humanity, one where you are never truly the master of your own house. Freud didn't just listen to secrets. He manufactured them. He sat behind his patients, out of sight, and hammered at their memories until they cracked. If a woman couldn't remember a trauma, he didn't stop. He pushed. He suggested. He bullied. He forced them to imagine the unthinkable, sexual violations from childhood, just to satisfy his own rigid equations. He traded their sanity for his own confirmation bias. He wasn't healing minds. He was colonizing them. Then he met his match. Carl Jung. The Crown Prince. Freud wanted an heir, but Jung found a soul. Jung looked at the unconscious and saw a vast, mystical ocean of ancient symbols. Freud looked at the same ocean and saw only a sewer of repressed lust. Freud demanded total loyalty. He demanded Jung bow to the altar of sex. Jung refused. The breakup wasn't a debate, it was a bloodletting. Freud fainted in Jung's presence, overwhelmed by the ghost of his own ego. He excommunicated his favorite son, choosing a lonely throne over a shared truth. But nature has a way of mocking the arrogant. Cancer clawed into Freud's jaw. A life of chain-smoking cigars turned his mouth into a graveyard of rotting bone and scar tissue. Doctors hacked at his face 33 times. They cut away his jawbone. They shoved a clumsy prosthetic, the monster, into his throat just so he could speak. The pain screamed. But Freud didn't quit the habit. He kept the cigar burning. He chose the poison that was killing him over the weakness of stopping. A man who claimed to master the human drive couldn't even master his own thumb on a lighter. He withered away in a cloud of smoke, clutching a broken jaw and an even more shattered pride. Freud died in London, but his ghost caught a flight to New York. It wore a suit and carried a briefcase. Meet Edward Bernays, Freud's nephew, the man who took his uncle's blueprints of the soul and sold them to the highest bidder. Bernays didn't care about healing you. He wanted to own you. He looked at a pack of cigarettes and saw torches of freedom. He didn't sell tobacco. He sold a rebellion against the patriarchy. He weaponized your hidden desires. He realized that if you link a product to a deep-seated insecurity or a sexual urge, people stop buying what they need. They start buying what makes them feel superior. He turned a nation of citizens into a herd of consumers. He paved the road to the American dream with Freud's dark secrets. Fast forward to right now. Look at the glass slab in your hand. Every like is a hit of dopamine designed to soothe your ID. Every targeted ad is a predator sniffing out your superego's shame. Why do you buy that car? Why do you crave that brand? It isn't logic. It's a script written a century ago in a smoke-filled room in Vienna. The tech giants didn't invent addiction. They just digitized Freud's couch. They mapped your anxieties and built a billion-dollar cage around them. You think you're choosing your life. You're not. You're just reacting to the triggers they pulled. You aren't the customer. You're the patient. And in this clinic, there is no discharge date. You spend your life trying to find yourself. But Freud's true legacy ensures you'll only find what they want you to crave. You're not a person. You're a data point in a psychological war you already lost. Freud's couch sits empty in a museum now, a relic of a dead era, but the walls of his office have expanded to the edges of the globe. He didn't just analyze the world, he rewired it. He convinced you that you are a stranger to yourself. He taught you to distrust every smile, every dream, and every impulse as a masked trauma. We live in the era of the self, yet we've never been more controlled. We hunt for closure in a maze he'd built. We treat our personalities like software to be patched. We obsess over our origins while the future slips through our fingers. So, take a look in the mirror. Look past the skin. Past the ego. Are you truly the captain of your soul? Or are you just an echo of an old man's cocaine-fueled fever dream? Freud claimed he wanted to set you free from your demons. Instead, he just gave them a name and a permanent seat at your table. The doctor is out. But the session never ends.